Hello.
Hi,
Who are we?
I am Brian Schrader.
And I'm Amanda Schrader. And we were house parents in, I guess, the winter of 2006 to 2007 for about 6 months. What brought us to being house parents? What brought
Opportunity arose. We saw it as a neat way to serve the community, and
We heard from our friend Des that he was a house parent at the time and they were needing house parents at the girls' home, and that was always where I'd like to work professionally with teenagers, especially teenage girls. And so it just seemed like, I remember walking home one day and wondering, why am I thinking so hard about this? The walk home and from work, and just thinking like, this is exactly what I want to do with my life. And so we moved in, and it's pretty cool. I broke my foot the first day we moved into Uturn, which wasn't so cool. That was a memory. So what are some memories that we have living as house parents?
one of the things we wanted to do was, or me being a male, at that.
It's late.
I was me being the husband and the man of the house in a house at that time that was a girls' Uturn home. I wanted to show love for my wife and respect for her. We wanted to create a stable environment that that had a lot of joy in it and a lot of love. So at supper times we really strived. At supper times we really wanted to have a fun time with the girls and with each other, and to just be ourselves in front of the girls, in front of the youth.
So I remember at Brian's birthday party, or his birthday was while we were living there, and so the girls knew it was his birthday, and so they really wanted to make him a cake, and they knew that he liked Oreos and ice cream, and so I remember one of the girls got a recipe herself and brought it to me for Oreo ice cream cake, and so we made that for Brian's birthday. But I think one of the experiences I had was, there was a girl that lived there that never really dreamt about anything, and I remember I'd always dream. I'm a dreamer. I'd always say, oh, maybe one day I'll do this or one day I'll do that. And I remember she had never said anything like that and didn't always understand how I could do that. One time we were driving in a car, and she really liked to cook, and we were driving downtown, and she saw this like building for sale, and she's like, one day I'm going to have a restaurant there. And I was so excited that she just felt free enough with us to be able to just dream. Not necessarily that it would come true, but just that she could dream. That was a big thing for me living there. So as house parents, or as Uturn kids, we always hope that they change. And what way did we change while we were house parents? Or what the experience changed us?
The experience changed me definitely by giving me a new perspective of some of these youth's lives, how few assets they have built into their lives, how little support or love that they've received, in the past, or even being the male role model in the house, and thinking of the past male role models they've had in their lives was heartbreaking. So it changed me by being broken, by seeing how these youth viewed themselves, and obviously our desire was to help them see themselves the way God does. How did it change you?
I think it just opened my eyes to a place that God led me then to make decisions later on. And I remember watching these girls come in and out, and just being heartbroken for them and their circumstances, and knowing that all I wanted them to do is for that time that they lived at Uturn to feel love and support. And I think in being a house parent, it led me to the position I am currently in at You for Christ. And so that changed my whole life. When we left as being house parents, we went to go live abroad for a year. And while I was there, the opportunity to be a Uturn youth worker came up. And I remember saying no more than once because I thought I would just move back to Brandon, or we'd move back somewhere in Manitoba and I would be a social worker somewhere. And but God had other things in store for me. And I remember very clearly when I was called to the ministry of youth worker that God promised that He would take care of me in that job, but also just things from my past and things that I had dreamt of that have come true in my job and that I just love doing now. So I think being a house parent, if I had not had that opportunity, I wouldn't be in the position I am now, and I wouldn't be loving my job so much. And so I think being a house parent changed me, just opened my eyes to the opportunities that are here in Brandon to help youth that are in our own backyards, and to just see how doing something simple like just listening to a youth can really impact a youth's life. And it's amazing to me to have youth come back after years after we had them living in Uturn, and just say how much Uturn meant to them and how much their house parents or just having someone to listen to them meant. And so I think that's changed me and has opened my eyes to the amazing privilege it is to serve God in this ministry.
Good answer.
Yeah, thanks. A+. Okay, now I'm going to film. Oh, you're not done?
I'm not done.
Okay, pause.
Edit. Cut. Action. What was I going to say? Oh. It was also really neat to be part of, celebrating the small victories with the youth, where they had such, most of them had such rough pasts that, they experienced failure and rejection and hurt and brokenness and abuse. And so to be part of any bit of victory or success or joy, genuine joy, was life-changing.
Tell the shoveling the snow story.
Oh, I was always, being the man in the girl's house, I
did the man job of shoveling the snow.
Thought you wanted me to tell the story.
Sorry. Dwayne cut.
I was going to go shovel snow, but I wanted the girls to come help me because it was their house also, and so we got them all bundled up, and one was really excited and one was all grumpy and complaining and embarrassed because we started taking pictures of them wearing our big snow boots and big snow gloves and toques, and we went out and the girls shoveled snow. I think I might have watched.
It was good. And we also, because we were going abroad to Thailand, the girls weren't so happy that we were leaving, but we had Thai Tuesdays, and where we cooked or tried to cook Thai food, and the girls had a lot of fun with that and had fun helping me cook these funny recipes that I had no idea and I had to go hunt down all these ingredients for, and it was a time where we could bond together and laugh. We laughed a lot at the table. What would we say to people who are thinking about being house parents?
Being a house parent is not easy. It's definitely a commitment. It will cramp your style. There are certain aspects of being a house parent that you need to adapt to, but at the same time you kind of go about, you're just opening up your life to some of these youths for a time. that's what it is. Just letting some of these youth see your
your weaknesses and your strengths. So they see everything.
They see everything.
So being transparent to them is humbling, and yet at the same time so rewarding. I think being a house parent, it definitely changes you as a person, because, and as a couple, you realize there's more to life than just work and hang out with your friends, and there's just more to life than just living, I guess. When you're a house parent, you are serving, and your focus is not on yourself anymore, and your patience grows. And I think as a person, I grew tremendously in those even short 6 months that we were there. I just think as a person I grew, and I grew in faith, because you definitely have to pray when you're a house parent, and you have to pray for those girls or boys, and I remember I sleep really solid, and so I wouldn't always hear everything, and I remember at nighttime just praying that my girls would be safe, because I didn't always hear if they'd leave in the middle of the night or things like that, and I just remember my faith growing a lot while I was a house parent, because I had to rely on God, and that's a great thing. A great thing.
A great thing.
A great thing.
And now we have a lot of stories. We can sit back and, I mean, we were house parents for only 6 months, and we can laugh and think of each girl and each individual that we, our lives changed.
And I'm still in contact with some of them, which is pretty cool.